My fiancé said, "My family issues are none of your business. Don't ask again." I replied, "All right." After that, I stopped involving her in any part of my life that required trust. When she suddenly realized everyone else knew something she didn't, what happened next completely caught her off guard. I'm 36 and have been engaged for about 8 months. We'd been dating for 2 years before I proposed. Honestly, things were good, not perfect, but good enough that I felt we were building towards something solid. She was independent, ambitious, and had a way of making me laugh even on my worst days. But there was always a wall when it came to her family. From early on, I noticed she never really talked about them, her parents or siblings. It was as if they existed in some parallel universe she refused to let me enter. At first, I didn't push. Everyone has complicated family dynamics, right? But as we got more serious, it started feeling strange. I'd met them only twice in 2 years. Both times were brief, awkward dinners where everyone smiled too much and said too little. About 3 months ago, I tried to bring it up. We were sitting in the living room on a Sunday afternoon, and I'd just gotten off the phone with my mom, who had been asking about wedding plans and whether her family would be involved. "Hey," I said, putting my phone down. "My mom was asking about your family. She wants to coordinate with your mom about some of the wedding stuff. Should I give her your mom's number, or do you want to handle that?" She looked up from her laptop, and I saw her jaw tighten. "I'll handle it," she said. "Okay, cool," I replied. I was also thinking maybe we could all have dinner together soon, both families. It might be nice before things get hectic with planning. "That's not necessary," she said flatly. "I mean, it's not necessary, but it could be nice," I pressed gently. "They're going to be family too. It'd be good for everyone to get to know each other." She snapped her laptop shut. "Can we not do this right now?" "Do what?" I asked. "My family issues are none of your business," she cut me off. "Don't ask again." Her words hit me like cold water. Not the message itself, but the tone. Sharp, final, like a door slamming in my face. I sat there for a moment, processing. "All right," I said quietly. She went back to her laptop as if nothing had happened. But something inside me shifted. If her family was none of my business, fine. But trust is a two-way street, and she had just put up a roadblock I couldn't ignore. That conversation changed how I operated, not dramatically, not overnight, but gradually. I started keeping certain things to myself. Not out of spite, but out of self-preservation. If she wanted walls, I'd respect them, but I wasn't going to keep tearing down my own while she reinforced hers. The first thing I stopped sharing was financial matters. We weren't married yet, so our finances were still separate, but we talked about combining them after the wedding. I'd been transparent about everything. My savings, my investments, my plans. She knew I had a decent amount put away and intended to use some for a down payment on a house after we married. What she didn't know was that I'd been speaking with a financial advisor about restructuring some investments. I was setting up a trust, something my dad had suggested years ago that I'd finally acted on. It wasn't about hiding money from her, it was about protecting assets I'd built before we met, but I didn't mention it. She also didn't know I'd started consulting with a lawyer about a prenup. After that family conversation, something in my gut told me to be careful. I wasn't trying to be cold, just realistic. If she couldn't be open about her family, what else might she be keeping to herself? The prenup conversation was necessary anyway, given my pre-existing investments and property, but I scheduled the meeting quietly without mentioning it. Around the same time, my best friend invited me to join a business venture he was starting. Nothing huge, but it had potential. It required some capital and time. Normally, I'd have discussed it with her first. Instead, I told my friend I'd think about it and ran the numbers on my own. 2 weeks after her family comment, my mom called asking about Thanksgiving plans. "Will her family be joining us?" she asked. "I don't think so," I said. "She has her own thing going on with them." "Oh," my mom said, disappointed. "Well, Maybe we can do something together for Christmas, I added, non-committal. I wasn't going to force it. Later, when my fiancé asked what my family was doing for Thanksgiving, I said the usual big dinner at my parents' house. Are we going? She asked. I am, I said. You're welcome to come if you want. She frowned. If I want. We're engaged. Of course I'm coming, she said. I just didn't want to assume, I said evenly, since family stuff can be complicated. She noticed the edge in my tone but didn't push. What time should we leave? Thanksgiving came and went. It was fine, but I noticed my family asking her polite questions about her own family, and she gave vague, minimal answers. My mom gave me a look across the table that said everything. By December, wedding planning was in full swing. We had a venue booked for the following summer, and deposits were due. My mom and sister were heavily involved, asking questions, offering help, trying to coordinate things. Every time they asked about her family's involvement, I shrugged and said, she's handling that side of things. But she wasn't. I could tell by the way she tensed up whenever wedding topics came up. Her mom had sent exactly one text asking about the date. No calls, no offers to help, no excitement. It was odd. One evening in mid-December, we were reviewing the guest list. My side was done, about 70 people, all accounted for. I asked her how many people her family wanted to invite. I'm not sure yet, she said, eyes on her phone. Well, we need a rough count for the venue by next week, I said. Can you check with them? I'll handle it, she snapped. I'm not saying you won't, I replied calmly. I'm just saying we have a deadline. She put her phone down and glared at me. Why are you being like this? She asked. Like what? I said. Distant, cold. You've been weird for weeks. I almost laughed. I've been weird? You told me your family was none of my business. I'm just respecting that boundary. That's not what I meant, she said, though her voice had lost its edge. Then what did you mean? I pressed. Because I heard you pretty clearly. She didn't answer. She just picked up her phone again and left the room. That same week, my friend confirmed he wanted me as a business partner. I agreed and signed the paperwork without mentioning it to her. It wasn't her business, right? That's what she'd taught me. I also finalized the prenup draft with my lawyer. It was fair, straightforward. Anything either of us brought into the marriage stayed ours. Anything we built together would be split. I scheduled a meeting to present it to her after the holidays. Wasn't looking forward to it, but it had to happen. Christmas came, and my family celebrated on the 23rd. Her family did something on Christmas Eve, and for the first time, she invited me. Are you sure? I asked when she mentioned it. Yes, I'm sure, she said, irritated. Why wouldn't I be? I said the dinner was uncomfortable. Her parents were stiff. Her brother barely spoke, and her sister kept giving her looks I couldn't decode. The tension in that house was palpable. When we left, I didn't ask about it. None of my business, remember? January hit, and things started unraveling faster than I expected. My mom called one afternoon while I was at work. Hey, sweetie, she said. I wanted to run something by you. Your aunt was asking whether her family is contributing to any wedding costs. I wasn't sure what to tell her. Why would her family contribute? I asked, confused. Well, traditionally, the bride's family covers certain things, my mom said carefully. I just wanted to make sure we weren't stepping on toes or duplicating efforts. Mom, I don't think her family is contributing anything, I said. There was a pause. Have you talked to her about that? It's none of my business, apparently, I said, more bitter than I intended. Honey, you're marrying her. It kind of is your business. You'd think, I muttered. After that call, my mom, sister, and aunt apparently started a group chat about the wedding. I wasn't part of it, but my sister let it slip one day when we met for coffee. So what's the deal with her family? She asked. Honestly, I have no idea, I said. She won't talk about it. That's so weird, my sister said. Red flag weird. Tell me about it. Have you met them? Twice. Maybe 3 times if you count Christmas. Her eyes widened. You're engaged to someone whose family you've barely met. Apparently, I said defensively, even though I agreed with her. She sipped her coffee, thinking. Do you think there's something actually wrong, like abuse or something? I don't know, I admitted. She won't tell me anything. I tried asking, and she shut me down hard. So, what are you going to do? Honestly, I'm protecting myself, I said. I'm getting a prenup drawn up, and I'm not making any more big decisions involving her until I know what I'm actually walking into. My sister nodded slowly. Smart. Sad but smart. That conversation stuck with me. It was one thing to have doubts, but hearing someone else validate them made it real. A few days later, the business partnership with my friend became official. We had a small dinner to celebrate with a few other investors and partners. I didn't invite my fiancée. When she asked where I'd been, I said I'd had dinner with some friends. Which friends? She asked. Just some guys from way back, I said vaguely. She looked at me suspiciously but didn't press. The following week, I had the prenup conversation I'd been dreading. We were sitting at the kitchen table after dinner. I pulled out the folder and slid it across to her. What's this? She asked. A prenup, I said. I had my lawyer draw it up. It's pretty standard, just protects what we each brought into the marriage. Her face went pale. You're seriously asking me to sign a prenup? Yes, I said calmly. It's not about trust. It's just practical. It is about trust, she shouted. You don't trust me. Do you trust me? I asked quietly. That stopped her. What? Do you trust me? I repeated. Because you won't let me into huge parts of your life. Your family, your past. You've locked me out of all of it. So yeah, I'm being practical because I don't know what I don't know. She stared at the folder like it might bite her. I can't believe you're doing this. Read it, I said. Take it to your own lawyer if you want, but I'm not getting married without one. She grabbed the folder and stormed off to the bedroom. I heard the door slam. For 2 days, she didn't speak to me. Just icy silence and sleeping on the couch. On the 3rd day, she came to me with the prenup, unsigned. I'm not signing this, she said. Then we're not getting married, I replied. Her eyes filled with tears. You'd really throw away 2 years over a piece of paper? You threw away my trust when you shut me out, I said. This is just me protecting what's left. I haven't shut you out, she protested weakly. Your family issues are none of my business, I quoted back to her. Your words. So fine. They're not my business, but my assets aren't yours either until you decide I'm worth trusting. She wiped her eyes angrily. You're being cruel. I'm being realistic, I corrected. You want partnership without transparency. That's not how this works. She left the apartment and didn't come back that night. I later found out she went to her parents' house. The next morning, my sister called me. Hey, so this is weird, but I ran into someone yesterday who knows her family. My stomach dropped. They told me something. I didn't know if it was true, but she hesitated. Just tell me, I said. Apparently, her family was in serious financial trouble. Bankruptcy-level trouble. They had lost their business a few years ago and never recovered. Everything clicked into place. The avoidance, the secrecy, the tension at Christmas. Are you sure? I asked. That's what I was told, my sister said. And there's more. Apparently, they've been asking her for money. A lot of money. I felt sick. How much? I don't know exact numbers, but enough that it's causing problems, she said. After that call, I did something I'm not proud of. I checked our shared credit card statement, the one we used for joint expenses. There were cash withdrawals I didn't recognize, thousands of dollars over the past 6 months, always in round numbers. 500 here, 1,000 there. I called the credit card company and got detailed statements. The pattern was clear. She had been withdrawing cash regularly and never mentioned it. When she came back to the apartment 2 days later, I had the statements printed and laid out on the kitchen table. She walked in, saw them, and froze. "Sit down," I said. She sat, eyes fixed on the papers. "How much have you given them?" I asked. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said, though her voice shook. "Don't," I said firmly. "Just don't. I know about your family's financial situation. I know you've been sending them money." "How much?" She stared at the table. "About 20,000 over the last year." I felt like I'd been punched. 20,000 from our joint account, I said. "It's my money too," she said defensively. "It's our money for our life together," I shot back. "For the wedding, for our future, and you sent it to your family without telling me." "They needed it," she whispered. "They were going to lose their house. So you lied to me for a year," I said. "You hid this while we were planning a wedding, while I was trusting you with my life." "I didn't know how to tell you," she said, tears streaming. I was embarrassed, ashamed. "So instead, you shut me out and made me feel crazy for asking questions," I finished. She didn't answer. "The prenup makes sense now," I said. "You need access to my money because yours is going to prop up your family." "That's not fair," she cried. "What's not fair is lying to your fiancé for a year," I said. "What's not fair is making me the bad guy for wanting transparency." I stood up. "I need time to think. You should stay somewhere else for a few days." "Please," she begged. "We can work through this." "I don't know if we can," I said honestly. "I don't know if I even know who you are anymore." She packed a bag and left. As soon as she was gone, I called my lawyer. "It's been 6 weeks since that conversation. The engagement is off. I told her 3 weeks ago that I couldn't marry someone who had hidden something so massive from me." She tried to apologize, offered to pay back the money, promised to cut off her family financially, but the trust was gone. Ending it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I did love her, but I couldn't build a life with someone who saw me as a solution to her problems rather than a partner. She moved out completely 2 weeks ago. I kept the apartment since it was mine before we met. She took her things and left without much drama, which I appreciated. Through mutual friends, I learned her family situation is worse than I thought. They're facing foreclosure, and her dad's business debts are astronomical. She's apparently back living with them, trying to help them navigate bankruptcy proceedings. Part of me feels bad for her. I do. It's an impossible situation. But she chose to handle it by lying, shutting me out, and using money meant for our shared future. That's not how you treat someone you're building a life with. My family has been incredibly supportive. My mom, who liked her despite everything, said something that stuck with me. "You can't save someone who won't be honest with you about what they're drowning in." The business partnership with my friend is going well. The prenup situation taught me a valuable lesson about protecting myself and establishing boundaries from the start. As for dating again, I'm not ready. This whole experience left me more cautious than I'd like to admit, but I know what I won't accept: walls, secrets, and one-sided trust. She texted me last week, "I'm sorry for everything. You deserved better." I didn't respond. Some apologies are genuine, but they can still come too late. Edit 1. People ask if I ever confronted her family directly. I didn't. Once I knew the truth, there was no point. Their financial problems weren't my responsibility, and getting involved would have only complicated an already messy situation. Edit 2. The 20,000 wasn't the full amount from the joint account. We had both contributed, and technically about half was money she earned, but the deception was the issue, not the money itself. Losing 10,000 that I had planned for our future stung though. Edit 3. Someone asked if she ever signed the prenup. No. Once the truth came out, we never returned to that conversation. The engagement ended before it became relevant.